drills it in, fired in, rocketed in by Jesse Lingard.
I think it will be Liverpool. And that's... Right, what's up guys, it's Hazman12 and welcome to my Premier League 2018-19 prediction video. Who's going to get relegated, which team's going to finish in the top 4, who's going to win? Let's find out. So who do I think is going to get relegated from the Premier League? End up in the bottom pit of the Premier League table. First off, I think Huddersfield are going to be bottom. And last season, they weren't one of the strongest teams going forward. They didn't score many goals. They haven't really signed many substantial players in the market. So I think Huddersfield are going to be bottom. I think Cardiff are then going to be above them. They signed some players, but not with significant Premier League experience. Fulham and Wolves, the other two newly promoted teams, signed a lot of top quality players. Cardiff didn't. So I think Cardiff are also going to get relegated straight away. And I think who's going to finish above Cardiff? I think it's going to be Watford. They lost Richarlison, they lost Marco Silva, they replaced Richarlison with Etheridge, and he's just not as good as Richarlison. Last season Watford conceded a lot of goals, so I think Watford, Cardiff and Huddersfield are getting relegated from the Premier League, end up in the bottom pit. Right, so next up there's Palace, and I think they're just going to get out of the relegation zone. Why? Because they signed Max Meyer for a free for an absolute steal, and they obviously have Wilfried Zaha. But I just don't think their squad is strong enough to challenge to get further up the Premier League. So I think Crystal Palace will just avoid relegation. Next up, there's Southampton. They obviously signed quite a few players. They lost Dusan Tadic, one of their star players last season. And will those new players gel? Will Charlie Austin get injured again like he always does? More than likely. So I think Southampton will finish just above them. Then there's Leicester. Obviously, they lost Riyad Mahrez to Manchester City, which was inevitable. However, annoyingly, they kept Harry Maguire from going to Manchester United. Thanks for those comments, Cloud Cruel. They were not needed. So I think, thanks to Maguire and a few other of the Leicester players, they'll finish above relegation. They'll stay in the Premier League. But I don't think they'll get much higher because Vardy's getting old. They lost Mahrez. Where are they going to get the goals from? Right, next up is Newcastle. And obviously they've got Rafa Benitez as the manager. He's obviously probably too good of a manager for Newcastle. So they'll definitely avoid relegation. They got Lascelles in defence. That's for sure. But then up front, they've lost Mitrovic. They just don't have that good of an attack to really challenge high up the table. So I think they'll finish here. Next up is Bournemouth. They got Eddie Howe as a manager. I really rate him as a manager, so they'll definitely avoid relegation. They won't finish too high because they're just so inconsistent, Bournemouth. Next up is Brighton. They've got Chris Hughton as a manager. He did well with his signings last year. Pascal Gross, Iscarado, is that how you say it, William? Yeah, they were good players, and he signed a few more signings this season. Probably just like last season, no one's really heard of them, but they worked out last season, so they're probably going to work out this season. Right, who's going to finish 11th? I think it's going to be Fulham. I mean, they signed Seri. He was linked to Manchester United, Barcelona. How did Fulham get Seri? And they've also got Schürrle. They got Alfie Mawson. Who didn't Fulham sign? That's why I think they're going to finish 11th. I just don't understand how they signed so many players. Then, at 10th, I think it's going to be Burnley. I think it's going to be Burnley. Sean Dyche just works his players so hard, so I think Burnley finished 10th. Then at night there's West Ham, and they got Pellegrini, they got Hernandez, they got Arnautovic, they got Wilshere. They just look so much better than last season, so I think they'll finish 9th. Right, 8th, I think it's going to be Wolves. I mean, what can you say about Wolves really? They got Ruben Neves, they got Yan Coutinho, they signed Adama Traore, and they're one of the best teams in the Championship last season. Like, Wolves are finishing 8th. Like, they just are. And then 7th, you've obviously got Everton. They got Richarlison from Watford. They've also got Marco Silva. So, I mean, they got Michael Keane, they got Balassi. They got all these players coming back from last season. They're all like new signings. So, I think Everton will finish 7th, Wolves 8th. Right. So I think Arsenal are going to finish 6th. Unai Emery is making them look quite good, quite promising, but I don't think they're going to finish above 6th. And this is because they got quite a good squad depth, but do they have those key players in the big games? They've obviously got Aubameyang and Lacazette, but can they do it on their own up front in those big games when there's not many chances? They could do, but probably not. So I think they're going to finish 6th. And Chelsea, they're going to finish 5th because I think their team is better than Arsenal's. But Willian, he obviously wasn't happy about Conte last season, he put the trophies, which he blamed his daughter for, but then Courtois left, and now Hazard's going to be looking over his shoulder like, I might want to go to Real Madrid. So the camp isn't incredibly happy at Chelsea. So my gut feeling is they're going to miss out on top 4. Yeah, that's my goal. That's my goal. I claim it. I think Tottenham are going to finish 4th. Because I think, what if Kane gets injured? Llorente just isn't Kane. And Toby Alderweireld, he's not happy. He should have gone to United. And Pochettino, he didn't make any signings in the window. So I think Tottenham are going to finish 4th.
Drills it in, fired in, rocketed in by Jesse Lingard.
Right, I think Man United are going to finish 3rd. I don't think we're going to be 2nd or 1st because I think Liverpool have sorted out their defensive record. We just didn't sign a centre back. We went for every single centre back in the world and we didn't get one. So we stuck with Smalling and Jones, Ashley Young, Valencia as our defence. Bai will get injured, Lindelof will be out of favour, Shaw won't be picked, and we'll get 2 former wingers in Valencia and Young as our fullbacks, and then Smalling and Jones, which is a joke of a defence for one of the best teams in the world. I just don't think we're going to finish 1st or 2nd ahead of Liverpool or City. So I think we're going to finish 3rd, but we'll finish above Tottenham in 4th because we've got Sanchez, we've got Pogba, we've got Nikon. We have a pretty good attack, and we obviously got De Gea in goal, so 3rd. So obviously I said Man United will finish 3rd. Who's going to finish 2nd? I think it will be Liverpool. And that's I think Liverpool will finish 2nd because they finally sorted out their goalkeeper situation, Alisson, who annoyingly does look quite good. So they sorted out Alisson, Robertson looks good in defence, Van Dijk. They've obviously got the best centre-back in the world in Lovren. And they got Salah, who's incredible up front. Annoyingly, but I do think Manchester City are going to finish 1st. Why 2 in a row? Well, they got Pep Guardiola, they were playing incredible football last season. They signed Riyad Mahrez, they still need a Fernandinho, like cover, but other than that, their team is pretty much faultless. Annoyingly, I do think Manchester City are going to take the lead again. Right, that's the end of my Premier League predictions. If you disagree with any of my predictions, leave it in the comments. I reply to all of them. And yeah, other than that, like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new.